Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Below the Line, the show about how movies are made. I'm here with my co-host, Houston Scott. By the way, I keep forgetting, I keep doing this. My name is Andres Ramirez, and today we have a really good special episode, going back into nostalgia, perhaps. Hey, Zach, how are you?
Hey, doing good, man. I didn't even realize you didn't introduce yourself the last couple times.
I do it every so often, really, not so much every time, but it's self-conscious, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair. Just give me all the attention and then yourself no credit.
Yeah, it's like a true filmmaker, I guess.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, how are we doing this fine day?
It's a Friday, and we're talking about very, I suppose, a very special movie. It's funny to go back because of one Mr. Jack Black and his upcoming movie coming very soon. Well,
Yes.
it's out.
Yeah. As of this recording, it is out. A Minecraft movie in theaters on its way really well with the box office, up to 100 million in the United States and Canada. So, very curious to see how that's going to come and be across the next bit.
Really, 100 million. I mean, I've heard that it's a very fun movie, but the critics did not like it very much. So I'm eager to see it this weekend.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too.
Do you have a personal attention to Minecraft or not so much?
Minecraft, admittedly, wasn't a game I played too much, mostly just because I'm not really big into open sandbox games like that, where there's really no plot or story. You're just kind of exploring. I respect it, especially with how the community's grown for almost like the last 15 years. And just ever since, I mean, we were the prime age for when it came out first in beta. Like, think it was around 2009 was when it first came about and people started recognizing it, and then when the
Hey,
full version
man,
came out.
don't say that out loud. It makes us feel old. Or at least it makes me feel old. Like, I cannot believe that game came out in 2008. It sort of felt more mid 2000s,
Yeah.
2010s.
Yeah,
God, time has flown.
but
So,
in honor of, his upcoming movie, I mean, he's been starring in a lot of video games, we decided to talk about one of his most underrated or perhaps famous roles. I won't even call it underrated.
it's, yeah, I mean, I think it's his most famous. I mean, I think I read online that it is one of the ones that gave him more meaning as an actor.
Mm,
And to be honest, looking back at the film, it's also a film that weirdly exists in a period of time that I don't think could be replicated in today's Hollywood landscape, if you know what I mean.
no, definitely. And for those of who haven't clued in, we are talking about the 2003 Richard Linklater movie, The School of Rock. But we're not doing this alone. Actually, Andres, would you like to be the one to introduce the good news?
Yeah, we're bringing a guest for this episode. She is a very special person in Zach's life, but she's also an artist and someone that I've gotten to know over the last couple of months. And as far as I understand, she is the teacher's pet, or is she not?
Hmm.
Maybe she's not because Rock got no reason, got Rock got no rhyme. Did you made it to school on time, Brooke? This is Brooke. Hey, hello, welcome to Below the Line. How are you?
Thank you for having me, guys. This is exciting.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, for those who don't know, Brooke is an actor. She has worked a couple times as a second AD, and she is my fiance. We are getting married in 2026, so very happy times. We wanted to bring her
Mm,
on the show just because she's a really big fan of School of Rock, and better to have more people
yeah.
talk about it.
No, I'm excited. Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
So, where should we start talking about this movie?
Mhm.
Did you guys rewatched it, or what is your relationship with the School of Rock?
I remember watching it on VHS.
Oh, VHS.
Yeah.
You had a VHS for that? Oh, I had DVD.
That that was in VHS. That was part of the DVD era.
Really? I just could have sworn I had it on VHS.
I
Or
mean,
maybe it was a DVD.
you probably
I
did
know
have it.
I owned it.
You probably did have it on VHS.
But no, I loved it. I remember listening to all the songs, and my dad's a big 80s guy, so all the music and the soundtrack, like, it was all played through my childhood, so I really resonated with that, and just Jack Black's hilarious.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of my introduction to him because from that point, I knew him as just the guy from Shark Tale or
Yeah.
the shark.
Or
And
Nacho Libre.
or yeah, Nacho Libre, true. And I think this one was his first like big starring role because
Mhm.
before he just played like a series of supporting roles in Ben Stiller and Will Ferrell comedies.
Mhm.
So this was the first time he could really own the screen and be a selling point,
Be a
which
leading man, yeah.
exactly. So definitely rewatched a lot of that just because I
Mm.
mean the music, like Brooke was saying, my parents were big into like the rock era
Mhm.
and they loved all the different styles that he was conveying and just I don't know, very slice of life attempt if it were like very grounded
Mhm.
comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, I think at the time when I was children, before I fell in love with movies, I wanted to be a guitarist because
Mm.
of this movie. Like, I wanted to be like Zack and Rock. I just thought that Battle of the Bands performance at the end was always fantastic. But, I watched it at least once a year because I think it's one of those movies that makes you feel good and you don't even know why. Didn't Jack Black did High Fidelity before that
Yes, he did do High Fidelity, you are correct.
with young
But
Cusack, with the
yeah,
other young Cusack?
John Cusack.
John Cusack, yeah. But he was still a supporting player in that movie. Like School of Rock was the first time where it was just him, which is funny because I mean he literally is with John Cusack's sister in
Yeah,
this
Joan.
movie. Yeah.
Well, they are named the same, right?
Joan and
Joan and John Cusack.
John, yeah. John.
That's interesting. He went from working with the sister of the guy that kind of worked with. So I was doing a little bit of research, and I don't know if you guys know that the film was inspired by a Canadian professor in British Columbia.
Hmm.
No, I did not.
Mm.
So I was looking at a Rolling Stone article, and they mentioned it's written by Angie Martascio. I probably butchered Angie's name, but apparently in 1975, a 27-year-old Canadian musician got a job teaching at elementary school, and apparently he taught them more music than actual math. Apparently, so Mike White heard the story and roughly got inspired to make a version of that story. And apparently, the reason he wrote the part for Jack Black is because they were almost roommates, they were neighbors. It's
Ah,
just, I find it very interesting. I don't know if you guys share the same sort of mindset. Like, Mike White is writing The White Lotus. How do you guys think this idea came from him, considering what he's working on now?
I mean, that was supposed to be a limited series, The White Lotus, but it turned into an anthology every season. But I mean, I can see that. This is the same guy that also wrote the Emoji movies,
Oh,
so
yeah.
his range is kind of all over the place. Yeah,
He
there's
doesn't have a specific, it's just all over the place.
he really
That's,
is.
yeah. No,
He
it's
did the Emoji movie.
Oh, yes, he did. He wrote the script for that.
one of your favorite movies.
And that's one for another time.
Oh yeah, that one was directed by Chris Columbus, right? Back in the day when they were trying to make the next Harry Potter, and now they gave up and they're actually doing Harry Potter again.
Are you talking for the Emoji movie
Oh
or
no, that was Pixels.
yeah,
I mean,
Pixels.
That's Adam
they're
Sandler.
both so they kind of came out in the same year, but we're debating about the topic. We can go into bad movie adaptations in another time.
That's the next
Uh,
Yeah, that'll be a different time.
Maybe next week because Last of Us is coming soon, I believe.
Oh, true. See how well they adapt season 2 for that.
Oh
Or
boy.
part two.
I wish them luck. I wish them luck.
Yeah. But back to top. No, I think just again what really resonated me. I mean, yeah, it's funny you mentioned there's a character named Zach who's
Mhm.
like a guitar rocker. I mean, every time I watch that, I'm just like, that's me. That's me. I can be that kid. No, I think it was just relatable. Like the way it was set was very much there. Like, you could feel these were real people, real kids with real problems.
Mhm.
Him ending up being like an inspiring teacher made a big difference to it. I think Richard Linklater has proven time and time again he knows how to write relatable characters. If you look at his before trilogy or even some of his current hits, I think this is like his biggest box office success, though, out of all his filmography. Like, even more than Dazed and Confused.
Mhm.
What do you think, Brooke?
No, I think it's amazing. It's a genius plot because, like, it kind of ties it up at the end, but it's like this guy who comes in just to get money for himself. He like meets these kids and he's inspired by them and they're inspired by him. And I don't know, it's just like they need each other kind of thing and they kind of come together. And even though, spoiler alert, they don't win the contest at the end, but they still,
Get the respect.
yeah, they get the respect even though they don't get the prize that he wants. He doesn't get the money that he was hoping for, but he got the respect and the love from the kids.
Yeah, the admiration.
Admiration.
Admiration, thank you. I
Admiration.
agree.
Yeah, I agree. Going back to the idea of Linklater directing this film, I also think it's like a weird. I wouldn't say he's. I mean, I agree. It's probably his most successful film,
Mhm.
but it is also his most commercial film. Like in terms of how he likes to make movies. I mean, he did Boyhood, and that took what 10 years to make, and now
Hmm.
he's making a new movie that will take him his whole life, probably,
Yeah.
with Paul Mescal. I just think this is like his. I don't know if this has his style, but it has his style because the kids work. And I think
Yeah.
he's one of the few directors in Hollywood that knows how to manage kids
Work with.
and really give them a time to shine, which is something that I don't know if it was Jack Black's influence or it was Linklater, but I think it's really well showcased at the end performance.
Mhm.
Shall we go to the plot a little bit so we can discuss moments of the plot?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And why the story works.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you want to add something else besides on the background of the film.
I mean, I'll just say this: it's definitely the role that he was born to play, Jack Black, in a sense, because it's like the slacker rocker guy who just knows how to make things awesome and
Mhm.
just exciting. Which, I mean, you'd see how he'd play that role again in like Kung Fu Panda
Mhm.
and even I guess Minecraft, like being from what I've seen obsessed with crafting and mines and stuff. So yeah, let's get right into the plot then.
So you guys should take it. You guys should take the lead. You guys are the teacher's pet. So where do you guys want to start?
Teachers. Well, I guess from the beginning, like Sarah Silverman and Mike White being in the movie. I
Oh
mean,
my god.
yeah, like Mike White's not even an actor. Like it's
No.
so odd just to see him like Ned Schneebly, and
Well,
then
he was also in Zombieland.
no, yeah, I guess he was for like a brief moment, but I
I'm
mean,
sorry. Sarah Silverman is like she's amazing. She's an SNL alumni. She's hilarious, but she pisses me off in this movie.
well, she plays it kind of straight. I think that's the problem, is she's
Yeah.
not given really anything funny to do.
Yes,
So
she's kind of in and out.
yeah,
That's true. But I think
Yeah.
she's supposed to piss people off in this movie. She's supposed to be the naggy girlfriend who like doesn't like Jack Black and doesn't want Mike White to listen to him or be a pushover, but she's pushing him. So
hmm
yeah, so, but she's
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think in many ways, I don't know if you guys would agree with me or not, but I think the film, it was probably written in the 90s, right? And I
mm,
think it's very reactionary of finding your own identity. And I think that's why maybe 20 plus years later, the film still manages to be effective because identity is something that we're still craving as humans. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, that kind of late 90s, early
Mhm.
2000s slacker generation. Like you saw it in like Dude, Where's My Car or Biodome or Bill and Ted, I guess, was the start of them all. So
Yeah, but they had so much diversity, even in just the students. They had, different races, different genders,
Mhm.
different walks of life, bigger people. They say he's a gay character.
Yeah, flamboyant.
Flamboyant.
Oh, the stylist.
Yeah, the stylist guy. Yeah, he was cute. I liked him. He was one of my favorites. Yeah, they had
He is.
bigger people with,
All walks of life,
yeah.
really. No, it's very inclusive, very inclusive cast.
Which obviously is relevant today and isn't as portrayed back then. So that was kind of revolutionary at the time too, I think.
But I don't necessarily think they casted that the film with that in mind. I think if you go to a classroom very much looks like that.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you could argue there were all rich people, and that makes it less empathetic. But I think it goes back to Jack Black's performance and the structure. I don't know if you would agree with me, Zach, but this is pretty much a hero's journey in case of the structure of of the screenplay. Would you agree with that?
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, we could talk about that in another podcast about how often the hero's journey is, especially when we do our inevitable Star Wars episode.
Yeah, I meant it more in the sense that he starts downbeat and he goes through this journey, and he has this catchphrase: "A good rock show can change the world."
Oh yeah, yeah.
And well, he didn't change the world; he changed his world and the world of the kids with that great show at the end. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I meant by the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He redeemed his own life in a way that he wasn't expecting to.
No, yeah. I agree. No, you're right. You guys are right. I do see that. I do see that.
I mean, he even gave meaning to Ned Schnively because, like, he was clearly submissive in the relationship that he had with
Sarah
Sarah
Silverman.
Silverman's character, and at the end, he's seen to be helping him teach
Yeah.
because now the School of Rock is a real thing. Like, it's not an illusion anymore.
Yeah. Actually, it is a real thing in real life. School of Rocks exists across the planet. There's one in Brazil. There's one in Vancouver. There's
I
a
actually
couple in the
went to a
States.
school of music. I went to the Sarah McLachlan School of Music in Vancouver.
You did.
Shout out Sarah McLachlan.
So
So, is that affiliated with School of Rock, like with the film, or did they just took the name?
Well,
the school is called the Sarah McLachlan School of Music, so it's not really associated with the
no.
School of Rock, but
Sarah
it's
McLachlan,
similar.
the singer. Yeah. She made her own school, like after school program. You can do music, choir, private lessons, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same, but it's not affiliated.
And I mean, with so many theater kids now, I
Yeah.
mean, they're always looking to do those kind of after school extracurricular activities to learn it. So, really, really inspirational in that sense. But I guess the other thing too to talk about is the use of like the music in the
Mm-hmm.
film as well. I think there was a band, I'm trying to remember at the top of my head, that was very finicky in terms of being used. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
And I had
the immigrant song.
They use the immigrant song.
yeah. And Led Zeppelin's notorious for not licensing out their music anywhere.
Jack Black had to talk to them. I think he had like a conversation with them.
Yeah, because of his band Tenacious D.
Oh.
And I think too that helped his performance that he was a rocker himself in a band.
Mhm.
And so that he was able to play into that a lot and be that legend. Because I've seen other movies where supposed rockers are like taken to the forefront, like Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, and I think even Meryl Streep was in one. I can't remember.
Ricky and the Flash.
Yeah, Ricky and the Flash, and I don't know, just they weren't believable as rockers. Like, nothing against them as actors, but you could tell they were just pretending to be rockers, whereas this guy is legit a rocker with the
Yeah.
long hair and the way he knows how to play live.
Yeah, I mean, I would dare to say that he's very influenced by ACDC in the way he performs in the movie,
Hmm.
particularly by uh, is it Angus or Stevie Young? The
Angus
lead,
Young.
Angus Young. I mean, he has a little bit of both, right? But like the charisma, even the suit that he's wearing at the end of the film, it is very reminiscent of ACDC, and I
Absolutely.
think ACDC has the most cues in the film by like a band.
No, I think so too. Yeah, because they play when they're riffing at the beginning. They play some of ACDC.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was going to ask you, Zach, how much do you think subconsciously the filmmaking has affected you as a filmmaker? Because while I was looking at it, I was mind blown by Linklater's direction. Something that I never looked at close is how he uses the moving camera. And what I mean by that is just as simple as this. The opening credits are very creative because
Oh, Wonder.
it's a wonder you're tracking them going into the club and you see like Jack Black's poster, a film by Richard Linklater as part of the art. So, and I was noticing very subtle things. So, how did you feel impacted by the filmmaking, or is it something that you carry with nostalgia?
More nostalgia. Like, it was definitely like the way it tracks. It You can tell like he's a director's director. He's not conveying to the studio norms of just your basic coverage of the whole band's like performance at the beginning. He did want to make something of a really cool opening. And I mean, you get more of that too throughout it when he's going through the classrooms and utilizing like the blocking of the kids practicing for
Hmm.
the event. So, no, definitely you can see his visual style there. That was in like the Before trilogy and even like Boyhood or some of his other movies, Dazed and Confused.
Everybody wants some.
Everybody
Hmm.
wants them. Yeah. No, for Paramount to give a chance on him, because I know they eventually turned this into a franchise. Like, it's very closely tied with Nick. They did a TV show in the late 2010s, and
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, Miranda Cosgrove ended up going on to Nickelodeon for Drake and Josh and
Mm,
iCarly. So,
true.
Well, she was about to do the pilot for Drake and Josh when she got cast for this, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
Although she's probably more known for iCarly, right? Uh,
very much in the same way Josh Peck is. Like, he was in a lot of stuff before Drake and Josh, and I guess the Amanda Show.
Hmm.
well, I was going to ask you since you mentioned the franchise cities of it, because I think it's like I don't think when they made the film it was meant to be a franchise. So as you said, this has sparked a musical adaptation
Mm-hmm.
that has played, I think, in New York City, yeah, in Broadway around 2015. And they also had the TV show, but as far as I know, the TV show was not that well received. The play is fine, but it is not the OG. So, do you think they could milk the money out of this franchise if they wanted to?
I would think so. Yeah, they totally could. They really, really could. Because I mean, I wouldn't want a sequel. I think that's kind of a moot point. Like, it wouldn't have the same impact with the kids and everything. But I would say that it's very even a remake. I think they kind of milked as much as they could from it with the Broadway show
Hmm.
and the TV show. Because anything else would just be moots at that point. I know they just got the soundtrack on a Spotify because of all the license issues. So, I mean, that's good.
Well, I think dramatically a sequel could work based on the tragedy of what happened in real life.
Because they lost the unfortunate passing of the guy who played the
Kev-
drum.
Kevin
Yes.
Clark, I
Yeah,
believe that's his name.
who played Freddy.
Uh, yeah, he passed away, I think, last year, I believe.
Yeah, in a motorcycle accident, I think it was.
Yeah, Kevin Clark.
So
Mm.
I believe that's his name. Yeah, Kevin Clark as Freddy.
Sucks. He was the cool one of the group.
I know. I think he was my favorite. I remember having a crush on him when I was a kid.
He was a punk rock guy for
Mhm.
sure.
Oh
Like
yeah.
he probably belonged in like Nirvana or something like that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
And
he was.
hmm and I mean the cast is still pretty close. They do reunions every 10 years now. Like
Well, and then two of them just got married.
yeah, I think Angelo Mashili and Caitlin Hale, which I think it was Frankie
Frankie
and Marta.
Marta,
One
one of
of
the nurse.
yeah, they
Yeah,
just got married. I
and
think
a
this
bunch
year,
of the cast went to the wedding and everything.
hmm
which
no,
it's interesting, I guess.
Mm. They all remained in touch 20 years later.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Like I can see probably Paramount. They're like, okay, how can we make this happen?
I mean, yeah,
There's some executive thinking, let's make it happen.
yeah.
But I don't know if, like, something that strikes me interesting. I don't know if Zach, you're more the producer. This movie had a budget of 35 million. Like, do you think it's possible to make a movie like that?
I think you could have did it for less. I think it was just because of all the licensed songs and I mean some of the actors that they cast in this that caused it to balloon up a little bit more. Because I mean, you have like a 10, even $15 million film, but music isn't cheap to license or carry out. So I
And
think
working with kids as well, because that means you have half a day because they cannot work more than 8 hours, I believe.
that's
Union rules. Um, I was going to say something else. Just a fun thing that I noticed, and I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts. We were talking about how this film was like uh, a reaction to the 90s and that idea of finding your own identity. And something that made me emotional or, you know, made me realize that a thing that I had not is when Zach does his solo. It's funny because he sings, Jack Black sings, I might not be your perfect son, but you'll be rocking when I'm done. And he starts a solo, and that's when his dad acknowledged him that he should play guitar in that style. So I don't know. I thought it was like a very cute moment, very subconsciously hidden.
Mm.
And again, it goes back to that idea of identity.
hmm no, I
I
know they really want to be. No, you can't. You got to give Mike White credit for for the subtext and the um, foreshadowing. So
He also wrote that song, by the way.
I believe it. I
Mm.
believe it.
Do you guys have a moment that you guys like that you guys want to share with our audience?
Honestly, the moment I always stick out to me is when they go into the bar and Fleetwood Mac. Is that it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Edge of 17.
Edge of
Yeah.
17, Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, Stevie
Yes.
Nicks.
No, that always stuck out to me as a fun moment to get him to convince her to bring them to the tryouts, or not the
So the
tryouts,
actual
but
Battle
the
of the Bands.
Mhm.
battle of the bands.
Can you elaborate why is that your favorite moment? I'm just curious to see if it's because of the same reasons I like it.
No, it's just they get common ground at that point with him taking advantage of her love of that band and music and just getting her a little intoxicated to help push forward.
Like what?
Yeah, no, it clearly didn't take much.
I mean, that's honestly a scene that should be studied in film school in terms of blocking
Mm.
and character dynamics, because like John Cusack does something very very smart in the sense that when he brings them the beers, the server, she drinks it like very sloppy, like almost as she hasn't had a beer, because she's completely out in the world. But as she starts drinking, she becomes more familiar with it and kind of allows herself to touch. something that was hidden, because I believe she's punk rock, but she has to hide her true self because she has to be the principal of this prestigious school. I don't know if you guys would agree with me.
To help all the practice. Yes, I agree. I
Yeah, because
agree.
that's more like when Jack Black's driving her back to the school after that scene, and she's like, I'm so rigid. I have to be this perfect person, and I don't want to be this person. This isn't who I am. But because of my situation, because of my job, I have to be perceived as this tight person. But then at the end, she's all like rocking out to this music, and she's like actually having fun and just letting loose and not having to be the strict, straightforward person. Because even in that other scene, the little girl, she's like trying to give her a hug and saying, it's okay, and she's like, don't touch me, I'm so scared. Like she's everybody's scared of this principal. She's like this big scary principal, but she's just trying to do her job, man.
She's not really your pal.
But she doesn't want to be that person. She wants to be liked. She doesn't like people thinking of perceiving her as this person that she's not.
What about you, Brooke? What is your favorite moment of the film?
And I think that was a big one. Um, uh, what else? The scene after Jack Black sees them in the music room when he realizes that they can all play instruments, and he's showing everybody what musical instrument to play. Like he's teaching them the song, and then I can't remember which character it was. One of the other kids says, "Oh, what about us? What about the rest of the band?" And he was like, "Well, just because you're not in the band doesn't mean you're not in the band." So he's kind of saying, like, even though you're not going to be up on the stage singing or playing an instrument, like it takes a lot more than that. It takes the lighting, the crew, the sound. It takes all these people to make a really cool show. So he tries to include everybody. I think that was a big moment because
Yeah.
you don't have to be on the stage to be in the band. Like everybody plays a part. I think that really stood out for me when I was a kid.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think that scene that you're mentioning, it goes back to the subtext of the film, which is building confidence, building your identity. I was reading that Robert Sy, who plays
Lauren.
the keyboard, Lawrence, yeah, he was trying to convince Richard Linklater to let him walk off the film because he felt that he was insecure, and I believe that approach that Linklater had with him probably influenced how Jack Black had that conversation in the film with him and building the confidence.
Yeah,
Like you can be cool.
yeah, he's like,
And
I'm cool. I'm not cool enough for this, but he's like, yeah, you're cool. You're so
absolutely,
You're the bomb.
cool. And
you're
I don't
Kev.
think that kid ever did anything after that either. I think that was his only
A lot of those kids
career.
didn't act out again after this movie. So
I think the most successful one was Miranda Cosgrove, I believe, in terms of acting. I
yeah.
think Zach, the actor that plays Zach, he plays guitar in real life. Like
Mm.
he's a musician. Joey Gaidos Jr., I believe he's a musician. Um, but yeah, I think that is a beautiful sequence. For me, I have to choose the very classy one, but I love his introduction when he's teaching them how to rock. So the scene uh, when he grabs the step off song, like when
Uh,
he's trying to get them engaged in this process and starting to break the barriers that the kids have. I think that song is phenomenal just because of how the blocking, the way that Linklater filmed it, like he ends up throwing a desk, and I just thought that was a very funny sequence because, like, the kids are not laughing because the script says laugh; they're laughing at Jack Black being Jack Black, and I think that's just a chef kiss.
Mm. Yeah, another
But
fact about one of the scenes when Jack Black and Miranda Cosgrove are going up to talk to the guy holding the auditions, and he says, "Oh, we're full," and he throws the chair. That apparently that was improvised. That wasn't actually in the script. So Jack Black threw the chair, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!"
I would believe it. It seems like it's one of those moments of movie magic,
Oh,
forever stored in 35 millimeter celluloid motion picture film.
totally.
Well, this is shot on film, so it is true. It is stock in motion picture film. It's not pixels. Uh, I wanted to ask you guys anything else you want to add, or um, yeah, how are we guys feeling?
I think pretty good.
No, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think we covered it pretty well. Paid tribute to a classic that's well over 20 years, and celebrating an actor who continues to draw in huge crowds. I mean, a lot of people are turning out to see Minecraft. A lot of people turned out to see Mario a couple years ago, and
Jumanji.
Mm.
Jumanji, yeah, and even Kung Fu Panda is still chugging along pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to go back into time and dive into the world of filmmaking, just realizing that how talented people evolve over time and the influences that these films have. I think this is a very rich film in terms of filmmaking, but it also tells a very good message, something to have hope for in today's difficult world. So for that, I want to be the teacher's pet. What about you guys?
I mean, I just want to be a boy. That was from Disney's Teacher's Pet.
Okay, fair, fair. Uh, so, to anybody that hasn't listened it, would you guys recommend this movie? Who
Absolutely.
hasn't watched it? Sorry, not listened. Well,
No,
you
I
can listen to it, but it's
Mm,
better to watch it.
yeah, I would definitely
I would.
recommend it. Yeah.
100%. No, it's one of my favorite
Well,
movies. I feel like we should watch it again.
I agree. Even though we just did.
oh, Zach, it seems like you have a movie date now. Hey, there's worse movies to have a date with. I think
There.
that one is an actually good one. So, do you want to sign us off?
Yes, thank you, Brooke, for joining us tonight, my love. It was a lot of fun talking this movie with you. Give us a follow at Below the Line 2025 at Instagram. Keep on the notification bell. We always upload on Sundays or try. You can follow us at the Zach Houston and Jaro2096. Yeah, feel free to keep us in your thoughts this week, and we'll see you in the next week.
Yeah, and also please let us know if you like this style of nostalgic kind of going back into the past, because who knows, this could become a series. Brooke, thank you so much for joining us, and I guess
Thank you.
you are the teacher's pet. And with that, bye bye. Bye, guys.